Hey everyone, welcome to the Guidebook of the Week series. And this week, it's a spooky one. We're going to look at how to carve a good old pumpkin. That's a guidebook I actually built while I was trying to carve one myself using instructions that I had online, which were pretty simple instruction. Definitely, it didn't capture really the tribal knowledge that goes with it, and I had to develop my own little techniques here and there. So I tried to represent them in the guidebook I'm going to show you. So let's head in and go into this one. Okay, so what are you doing? I'm clearly doing production right now. So there you go. You have the first step, VKS Halloween special, how to carve a pumpkin. And we've got a little pictogram on the side reminding us that we will need safety gloves for this step. Now, I didn't have the safety glasses in, but ideally you wear some. Don't be like me, okay? And I think for this one, I'm going to go in full view mode. So let's remove the side panel. But keep in mind, there is relevant information on the side for my colleagues. If they find a typo, which can happen, they can use this form. This will send me an email, and I'll even know on which step they were when they filled that description, so I know where to go and fix it. And the rest is for later. Okay, so let's move on. First step, acquire the proper tools and equipment. So this is everything you need, all listed on the side. So if you click on the droplets, you kind of know what you got to have here. And again, there's no safety glasses, but please wear one if you can. Moving on, are your knives already sharpened? So in my case, they were not. So if they're not, it brings you to an extra step showing you how to do it. So just drag it through your wife, your knife sharpener a couple of times. Don't don't do that with your wife, please. And repeat that for the smaller knife as well. Other step, make sure there are no distractions on your screen. Very on your table. I mean, very important. This little guy here was right in the action, getting messy with the pumpkin seeds. So if you can, please remove it. No matter like how big eyes he makes you and how sad he looks. It doesn't have his role here. Okay. First thing, we gotta wash the pumpkin, obviously. So wet your wipe and clean up the whole thing. Might have some fertilizer on it. We won't want you to work with that, so please remove it. And trace a circle around the top of the pumpkin. So the min diameter should be large enough for you to put your hand in, or like a big scoop in, and the max would be that you can't actually put your head in it. So keep that in mind. Make it about, like, I'd say, a third or half of what the max diameter of the pumpkin is. Pierce small slits all across the tray circle, and don't go deep with your knife. There's just little notches that you're gonna make all around there. It's gonna make the larger one much easier. And as you can see here, the cat moved to a safe distance, so that's good for the cat. And we move on here. Caution, please be careful with the following step as it's extremely powerful, and it is. Only the true pumpkin masters know about this forbidden technique. So you got to make sure you are wearing safety gloves and that you are ready to perform this technique. And this is called a Thor's hammer slap. Very easily portrayed by this little gif you see here. Essentially, you just put the tip of the knife in and just slam it down to create a large slit, and hopefully just goes through enough of the, I'd say uh, the, the width of the pumpkin. I mean, the width of the contour of that pumpkin. There you go. And this right there, this is tribal knowledge. This is not really something you would see in an instruction online or something you could see on the shop floor. It's going to tell you just slice the top with your knife, and it's not going to tell you necessarily how. This I find is the best way. And make sure you do it all around and do it at an angle too. Ideally 45 degrees. The reason is when you remove your cap, uh, when you want to put it down after a couple of days, the pumpkin will rot a little bit and it can just go through that top. But if you slice at an angle, it will rest around the edge and stay there. That's what you want. Okay, pull out the top using your mighty strength. Depending on the size of the pumpkin, that can be pretty hard. And then store that top aside. We want it for later. Scoop as much filling as possible using your scoop. Again, if you don't remember what this is, you can just click on it, look at the droplet. It's going to let you know. Then just scoop it out, dump it in the bowl, and you'll see it's not quite easy. So we've got a personality test for you here, where you got to select the appropriate response. So I like to keep my hands clean, or hands are the greatest tools of all time. In my case, I like that second one. So, congratulations. This is actually the right answer, but don't still tell the spoonies. Obviously, I want to keep that a secret. You'll move to the messy part of the guidebook now. Please wash your hands before this step, very important. And then throw away your spoon. Go to town with your bare hands. This is much easier than using a spoon. And again, the instruction I found online didn't tell me to use my hands. It works much better. Now, another little tribal step I've added in there. I had a really hard time removing all the little filaments of pumpkin inside. So what I did is I imagined my favorite flannel and I just sliced it vertically, horizontally, all around in the inside. So it's like a checkerboard, and then it was much more easy to remove those little spaghettis. So I just took the spoon. It was not broken at this point, so I just used it to finish it up, and I scraped the edge, bottom, top, top, bottom, whatever. Chop the bottom of the top. You want to remove that extra stuff on that top, put it in the bowl with the rest. Then you'll have a lot of filling and a lot of little pumpkin seeds, which you can roast, and it tastes great. Here's the result at the bottom there. If you want a recipe, just click on that picture. It's going to open up a page with a recipe that I use to make those pumpkin seeds. So that is a side quest. You don't have to do it right away. Keep in mind the recipe link will stay on the side. No matter if you move along, you can still open up that recipe at the end if you want to. So it's time to give it personality. Choose your weapon. So Team Sharpie, it is badass. It always works, but it is messy if you're no Michelangelo. Whereas if you're using a pencil, I had a hard time. I tried using the pencil first, but because the surface was wet, it wouldn't draw on quite well. So I used the Sharpie in the end. Bad mistake, because then I had to I couldn't erase the leftover Sharpie on there, so I had to cut even more all around. Here's the design that I used. It took me a couple of hours. If you need more examples, you can click on this link here. So it's going to show you other examples that you can reproduce there. This one's too easy. Don't go for painting. Use knives, my friends. Okay. So moving on here, disclaimer: no harm was made on that pumpkin since they only come alive once they have a candle. That is true. Now what you're gonna do is again just do little pokey pokies all around the shapes that you're trying to remove, and on the second pass through, just make slits instead. What I did here is I used the smaller knife because I want more precision. Then on the third and fourth pass through, you should be able to slice and carve all the way around. So make sure it covers again the thickness of the carapace. I don't know how to say that of your pumpkin. Okay. Pop that eye out. In this case, just go inside and just punch it out. Sometimes you'll see it's still holding up at some places. Just use your knife again, slice that through, and eventually you should be able to remove it. So this is the end results for all the other shapes I had to remove. But it went through some rough time, so we'll have to care about that pumpkin a little bit. Remove the extra gum around the teeth. Do that around the eye as well. You'll have some slices that have been made. Just remove that garbage. Brush your teeth. You want to make it nice and clean. Look for botched surgeries here. Just use a band-aid if you need to. You're just gonna make it look perfect. Here's the clean look. After I brushed the teeth, I added a band-aid. So the next step, obviously, is to add even more touches of personalities on the pumpkin. So first one would be the smell. So just think about what your pumpkin would smell. I went with cinnamon, nutmeg, and cardamom. which I just sprinkled inside, but also over the top because that's where the heat is going to be. You can use lemon peels, orange peels, maple syrup if you want. There's other options here. And then add personality elements such as tattoos. You can add glasses, piercings, scarves, a hat. You can put little sticks as arms like you do for a snowman. And then time to bring it to life. Just light it up here. Make sure there's no like cinnamon powder floating around because this can catch fire. So please don't. And please remember to social distance once it's lit because now it's alive. And here's the beautiful pumpkin we've made. So once you are done with it, we ask you even to share it with the world so you can give it a name. So I'm gonna call mine Bobito Bean, and if you want, you can upload a picture of it. So here I'm just gonna add that final picture. Usually, right from a tablet, if you have a webcam, you can grab it to take the picture of the pumpkin. Mine was already in. General comments. Well, obviously, that was an amazing guidebook. All right. Save, and this is actually sent via email to myself, which then I can use those tips, I can use those pictures and figure out who has the best pumpkin, of course. And that is all, folks. That was all for the spooky edition. Maybe we'll make a special edition for Christmas. Who knows? Until then, just stay with us, and you'll hear Spiro in the following weeks.